You've probably noticed it already. Not at once, not loudly, but slowly. More arguments, more defensiveness, more selfishness hiding behind confidence, more people ready to twist your words, drain your energy, and turn every interaction into a quiet competition for control. It feels like toxic behavior isn't rare anymore. It's not an exception. It's the background noise of daily life. And if you've been wondering why society seems to be producing more of these people than ever before, you're not paranoid, you're observant. Because this didn't happen by accident. There are real psychological, cultural, and social forces quietly reshaping how people relate to one another, creating a perfect environment for toxic personalities to multiply, adapt, and thrive. This isn't just about bad people. It's about a system that rewards the wrong traits. And it begins with something subtle but dangerous: emotional numbness. Modern life is overstimulated beyond what the human nervous system was ever designed to handle. Constant notifications, endless opinions, permanent urgency. Everyone is always reacting to something, but almost no one is processing anything. People don't know how to sit with discomfort anymore. They don't know how to feel without escaping. They don't know how to slow down long enough to understand what's happening inside them. So instead of reflection, they choose speed. Instead of self-awareness, they choose distraction. Instead of accountability, they choose blame. Avoidance, denial, blame shifting. At first, these are coping mechanisms, but over time, they harden into personality traits. Hurting others becomes easier than confronting yourself. Projection feels safer than introspection. And when empathy is numbed long enough, you stop noticing the damage you cause. That's where the toxic mindset takes root, not in cruelty, but in emotional neglect. Instant gratification and entitlement. Now, layer that numbness with a culture obsessed with speed, fast entertainment, fast validation, fast outrage, fast conclusions. Everything is designed to be immediate. And when immediacy meets entitlement, something corrosive forms. People begin to believe they deserve results without effort, respect without responsibility, and attention without substance. Toxic people thrive here because manipulation works faster than growth. Shortcuts are rewarded. Exploitation is efficient. Emotional maturity feels optional, while selfishness gets reframed as self-care. Why build patience when demanding is quicker? Why grow character when dominance gets applause? Why develop empathy when outrage gets clicks? Slow intelligence is replaced with fast reactions. Emotional illiteracy. The most dangerous shift is happening quietly. People can express opinions, but not feelings. They can argue endlessly, but they can't reflect. They can accuse with precision, but take responsibility for nothing. They confuse emotional expression with emotional intelligence. When someone lacks emotional illiteracy, they default to survival mode. And survival mode doesn't sound calm. It sounds defensive, aggressive, manipulative, controlling. Most toxic people weren't born toxic. They're emotionally underdeveloped adults who learned how to survive through control instead of connection. And society keeps rewarding them. The attention economy. Social media didn't invent toxicity. It amplified it. The loudest voices rise. The harshest takes spread. Conflict travels faster than nuance. Drama is profitable. Outrage is currency. Narcissism gets normalized. Selfishness becomes branding. Emotional insensitivity is marketed as being real. And every time destructive behavior is rewarded with attention, the message sinks deeper. This works. Do more of it. Envy, comparison, insecurity, dominance, these aren't side effects anymore. They're incentives. Disconnection from the self. Underneath everything is a deeper fracture. People are losing connection with who they are. When you don't know yourself, you look for identity and power. When you're not grounded, you chase control. When you can't face your flaws, you attack them in others. That's why toxic people find comfort in tearing others down. It distracts them from the emptiness they refuse to confront. Superiority becomes armor. Criticism becomes protection. Control becomes safety. The more disconnected someone is internally, the more aggressive they become externally. A fragile society. Here's the part no one wants to admit. Society is becoming emotionally fragile. People are overwhelmed, insecure, overstimulated, and exhausted. And when someone feels powerless inside, they often try to reclaim power by taking it from others. Toxic behavior becomes a survival strategy. Not a healthy one, but a common one. Vulnerability feels unsafe, so it gets buried. And what replaces it is defensiveness disguised as strength. That's why everyday interactions now feel like emotional minefields. You never know if someone will respond with curiosity or explode. You set a boundary and it's treated like betrayal. You share an opinion and someone feels personally attacked. People aren't developing stronger identities, they're developing thinner skins. And thin skin combined with high ego creates explosive reactions. The loss of consequences. There was a time when behavior had weight. If someone acted cruelly, their reputation suffered, their community pushed back. There were consequences. Now, burn a bridge, move on. Hurt people, rebrand. Damage relationships, find a new platform. Accountability is optional. And when people can behave badly without consequence, toxic behavior spreads unchecked. Even worse, it becomes bolder. Criticize freely, but call others sensitive. Violate boundaries, but accuse others of being difficult. Weaponize psychological language to excuse behavior they never intend to change. Discomfort is treated like injustice, and manipulation thrives in that weakness. Performance over character. At the deepest level, toxicity rises because modern life rewards performance over character. People want to look confident instead of becoming confident. They want admiration without effort. They want superiority without growth. Developing character takes time. Performing a personality takes seconds. So many choose the performance. The result is a world full of inflated egos hiding fragile inner lives. When ego outgrows maturity, toxicity fills the gap. That's why arguing with toxic people feels impossible. You're not debating ideas, you're threatening their identity. They don't want truth, they want dominance. They don't want solutions, they want control. The more fragile they are inside, the more aggressive they become outside. The decline of self-awareness. People rarely pause now, rarely reflect, rarely examine the patterns controlling them. They react instead of understand. And when someone lives in reaction mode, every disagreement feels like an attack, every challenge feels like disrespect, and every boundary feels like rejection. You cannot expect emotional intelligence from people who never learned how to sit with themselves. Where your power comes from. Here's the truth that gives you leverage. The rise of toxic people doesn't make you weaker, it makes your self-awareness more valuable than ever. The more chaotic society becomes, the more your calm stands out. The more manipulation becomes normal, the more clarity becomes protection. The more people lose themselves, the more grounded you become. You don't need to fix toxic people. You don't need to explain yourself to them. You don't need to absorb their dysfunction. You just need to understand how they operate, so you don't confuse their damage with your responsibility. When you stay grounded, they lose control. When you stay calm, they lose influence. When you stay self-aware, they lose the ability to distort your reality. Toxic people thrive in confusion. They crumble in clarity. So keep strengthening your mind. Keep building emotional boundaries. Keep learning how to respond instead of react. You're living in a world where toxic behavior is multiplying, and that only makes your awareness more powerful, more necessary, and more rare. And if you want more insights that help you stay emotionally strong in a society that's slowly losing itself, make sure you're here for what comes next. Your clarity matters. Your awareness matters. Now more than ever.